Nate, have you heard that Mr. Farage MP has tried to actually begin the process of getting us to formally, legally leave the ECHR?
Huh. How did that go?
European Court of Human Rights. So it was knocked down. It wasn't like a full bill. It wasn't like it was what they call a 10-minute bill. So it was only ever like sort of basically a symbolic thing. But nonetheless, even that they couldn't have. So Nigel stands up in Parliament, does a little speech, just a few minute speech, saying we should leave the ECHR. We should, he was saying we've got unfinished business with Brexit. Like we still haven't left properly.
That's fair.
Yeah, no, it's a fair point. Yeah, he was making the point. Parliament could decide that we want to deport somebody, and the ECHR sitting in Europe, is it Brussels? I can't remember if it's Brussels or Strasbourg.
Strasbourg. Oh no, that's the court. Yeah.
Sitting in Europe will just overrule us. And so this is about sovereignty. Again, he's not wrong. Perfect. We throw plenty of shade at reform and Nige, don't we, all the time? But we do also say, when it's warranted, that he's saying the right things, doing the right things when it's warranted. So, I mean, this is one of those examples, I think, right? He can't do all that much with 5 MPs.
Yeah.
So he's trying, right? So the story is that he tried to do a little speech in Parliament, and he kept getting interrupted, and people making tons of noise over the top of him. And the House was largely empty. There's very, very few Tory or Labour MPs there, but the Lib Dems turned out en masse. The SNP turned out en masse, and it was thwarted. So, he could barely get through what he was saying without them just constantly, the Speaker having to stand up a number of times and basically say, "Shut up and let him speak, for God's sakes." He ends it by saying like how are you doing this? How don't you want us to leave the ECHR? Like, what do you think you're doing, sort of thing, he was saying. And they're just like laughing and joking and talking over him and all that sort of thing. So it seems that some Tory MPs voted with Nigel and reform, like Jenrick did, apparently. But nonetheless, the other side got more because the Lib Dems turned out en masse, and a bunch of Labour, 50, 60 odd Labour did bother turning up, though they didn't seem to be sitting actually in the House itself. Couldn't be bothered to actually listen to him, but they did turn up to vote against it, seems to me, from looking at the chamber. And if it wasn't for that, that would have passed, and at least would have set some sort of precedent. The government isn't obliged to do anything about it, but nonetheless, it would have meant something. And the Lib Dems gloating over it. Ed Davey saying that, this is a win for us. Nigel Farage wants to turn Churchill's Britain into a Trump Britain. It's all complete bullshit, complete nonsense. Just one more strike against people that are worried about their safety or worried about their demographic replacement. I mean, what do you think about it, hearing all that?
Well, there's a few things that I think. So I think it reinforces the fact that Parliament is just a theatre, and people should actually, by and large, just check out from it and just act when voting comes around to completely remove the theatre from the equation. It's not entertaining, it's insulting. It's insulting to the nation's intelligence, and it's insulting to the dangerous and very, very precarious position we're in as a society, actually. It needs to be rejected wholesale. And I think anyone who cares, I think, should also email their local MP and express their disgust at how they all act in Parliament. Every single one of them is a fucking disgrace, quite frankly. They don't take it seriously, and it's deeply insulting. Second thing, I think it reinforces just the fact that, these people are the enemy. They don't care. This is in the same week, because I replied to Ed Davey, super happy about that. I replied to him and I said, well, mate, I don't see you tweeting about Wayne Broadhurst. This is the man that tragically, got stabbed, slaughtered. He was slaughtered. He was slaughtered in broad daylight. It's not stabbed. He was slaughtered, butchered like an animal by some savage barbarian that shouldn't have been here. So in the same week that happened, these people don't take it seriously. They don't care, and it reinforces that to me. And it's deeply troubling that our political class is so ignorant to people's issues that they will laugh and joke and heckle and do that. It's a farce. And also, I question why you're able to vote if you're not in Parliament to listen to the proposed bill. I don't see that as a rule that should be allowed. I actually think there should be a rule against it. If you're not in Parliament to listen to the proposed bill or hear the bill or read the bill, I don't think you should be allowed to vote on it. That doesn't make any sense. That's not democracy. That's not democracy. That's party politics, and that's what we will need to get away from.
Yeah.
So, a few things. Yeah, I think it's disgusting. Just all in wholesale is disgusting, and he's right. Like, yeah, you're right. We unashamedly give Nigel some stick on this channel, but we also prop him up and give him his dues when he's doing some good stuff. He made some good points there, so I can't bash him for that.
Yeah, you're right about the theatre thing. I mean, I saw earlier in the week, or was it last week, when I think it was actually Jenrick who stood up and questioned David Lammy about
for the laughing
that guy being released, and David Lammy was laughing, and that fake theatrical laughing. You're not really amused. It's just you're acting. You're trying to embarrass the other guy when, in fact, it's far more humiliating for him. I think he's just laughing about that guy being released. Yeah, it's absolutely disgusting. As for sending your MP a letter, well, I agree with you and don't agree with you. I agree with you. If you've got the right MP, it would be worth it. Absolutely. Right? If you've got an MP that's that way inclined, you can influence them in any small way, sure, go for your life. But what if your MP is Ed Davey?
Oh, no, I don't think he'll do anything. I'm not saying it in...
Sorry.
I'm not saying it in with the remotest of opinion that it would achieve anything.
Right.
But when they get voted out, perhaps they'll think back to that. Perhaps they'll have a small amount of reflection. I don't think it'll change anything right now, but they will get voted out. And I think at that point, maybe they'll go, maybe that was why. I don't know.
Yeah. Because my MP happens to be Heidi Alexander, Labour, South Swindon, Labour. She's actually the Transport Secretary. And, I mean, she's a disgusting pig of a woman, revolting, and an arch globalist type. So she would revel in throwing that letter in the bin, for example. There's no point. There's literally no point. Like on Twitter, she just simply won't respond to anything you say that's about immigration or anything at all. Just simply refuse to acknowledge. I mean, so yeah, a real rain's got to come, and until there's a half decent party, even if it's fucking milk toast, Civnat, semi-globalist party reform. I mean, even if it's them, it's better than what we got now. So at least one last thing to say is it is nice to see that Nigel is at least keeping on the ECHR, banging that drum. That's better than nothing. I like to think that if or when they become the government, he will actually do that and make that a priority. First few weeks, he'll actually sort of get that through.
Well, you'd hope so, because Parliament should be sovereign.
Mm.
We have our parliament has the ability to be entirely sovereign, and it
Yeah.
should be.
Yeah.
And it's deeply frustrating that it isn't at the moment, that it isn't sovereign. But that also goes to show the spineless political class we have is that they're happy being someone's bitch. They don't want to be sovereign. They actually don't want to be sovereign because they are weak. They're weak. They're not leaders. That's the point. They're weak. They're managerial. And this is the managerial state that we're in because we're led by managers. Right? We're not led by leaders. These are just managers. It's disgusting. I will say, just real quick though, he did tweet this out. Never trust the Tory. Mate. Come on, Nige.
It's the perfect point. You don't need to say anything else, right? Either. Yeah. Aren't you accepting as many Tories as you possibly can, Nigel? What are you talking about then? It's funny though. It's beyond satire, isn't it? Almost. Like he was saying to them in Parliament, the people that did bother to turn up, he was saying to them, "This is about our sovereignty, your sovereignty as an MP, as a member of Parliament. Don't you want to be sovereign? Like this is for you. This is in aid of you. This is about your power." And they're just rolling their eyes and laughing and shaking their heads and all that shit. Mental. What a mental state of affairs.